is from the School of Chemistry and Physics and Earth Sciences at Flinders University. His position is senior lecturer. Still senior lecturer there, Jochen? Things change, I'm just checking.
Just oceanographer.
Oceanographer,
yeah.
Just oceanographer. This is taken from Jochen's website, so we haven't had time to confer on this, so whether it's all up to date, but I'll go ahead anyway. Courses include...
Don't, just...
He does
don't
lots
worry.
of things. There's a huge list of applications. He doesn't want me to go on. Just a couple of things. His research interests are coastal upwelling, continental slope processes, air-sea interaction, estuarine circulation, suspended sediment dynamics, deep ocean processes. And I'm sure you all know about those. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further, Associate Professor Jochen Kaempf. Thank you.
Is the microphone on? Yes. The title is it's crunch time for Upper Spencer Gulf, and I just want to start with two things. Do I have to move with it? It's actually surprising that if you look at texts, books, publications, that Upper Spencer Gulf there, the upper, has a capital U at the beginning. And there's a special reason for that, because Upper Spencer Gulf is not just the upper part of Spencer Gulf, it's a special, unique region. And that's why people call it Upper Spencer Gulf with a capital U. And I also wanted to start with the question, what do you think, how much are these cuttlefish? If you think about it, in terms of what is the value of cuttlefish? Not one, I mean, I don't want to encourage you to go and buy one just for your dinner. I'm talking about what is the value if you lose the entire population of cuttlefish in that value? What do you think? How much is it worth? Just give me some ideas. What is that, $10?
What's the value on a cuttlefish?
Yeah.
What's the value on your life?
Oh, my life has to finish, but what's the value on your life? Same cuttlefish.
Get on with it.
It's not priceless.
I mean, that's really the answer, isn't it? Because there are so many rapid changes, and we are used to seeing ABC, or no advertisements here, but ABC documentaries of rare species. We go to the zoo to see some animals which we don't see anywhere else. And so if you lose cuttlefish, you can't put a value to that. You can't, because it's beyond any measure, isn't it? And that's probably a good starting point of my presentation. And so why I give that presentation is that just yesterday I finished the Flinders University submission to BHP Billiton, and on the very last slide there is a reference. So it's released on the Flinders University webpage, so you can download it. So if you need some last input, if you're planning to write a submission by end of business this Friday, have a look at that. And I will give you the key findings or the key recommendations. That's what I want to present today. And that's already 5 minutes now. I think it will be a very long evening, but and I don't have to say much anymore, because thanks to the BHP Billiton video, I don't have to talk about the technology. I just want to add, or say again, there's one risk, and I come back to that later. Oh, this is sorry. There's one thing, if you release brine, which is denser, it tends to fall back onto the seafloor, and there is one severe risk, is that just the oxygen gets used up. The reason for that is that the oxygen input into the ocean, or into the water, comes through mixing with the atmosphere. If you have a layer of dense water sitting on the seafloor, then the oxygen in this dense layer can get used up and can reach critical levels which can kill any marine animal that lives close to the seafloor. Yeah, and that can take place within 5 days or so. We don't know yet for this reason. Another thing that I'd like to mention is that there is a water quality policy, and it tells you something of what is sort of accepted in terms of pollution. And what it says is that usually in marine waters, pollution is permitted within a radius of 100 meters. Yeah? You have a pollutant source within 100 meters is sort of fair enough, but not outside this zone. Yeah, that's the current South Australian environmental legislation. And we also, I come back later to that, because the BHP Billiton proposal, they don't achieve this. So their proposal doesn't comply with existing legislation. Which to me, I mean, I come from Germany, much stricter country, so it's impossible. You know, you can't propose something which is not consistent with existing legislation. It's absolutely weird, and so it needs another 10 years for me to really fully understand it. And another little detail which is worth exploring, I'll show you a little list later on of recommendations, is if you read the policy, if you read that, it actually says in marine waters other than estuaries, it's written here, the mixing zone is less than 100 meters in radius. In other waters, the mixing zone has to be less than 20 meters in radius. So if you think about a river or so, it has to be much smaller, the zone in which pollution is permitted. But Spencer Gulf of St. Vincent, there are estuaries. Yep, from the scientific point of view, there are estuaries, and that would be one interesting challenge to compare the scientific with the legal definition of estuaries. Yeah, that might give a little bit of problems for other developments like the Port Standard development. Why is the text disappeared from this one? What happens if I do this? It's about how many sites did they look at? How many discharge sites? And if you use a little map, and if you look at the documentation, you find out that all their sites, so they say they looked at 13 different sites all over the Gulf. All these sites are located in Upper Spencer Gulf. There is the Point Lowly, all these are sites that they looked at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, Port Augusta, it's hard to see here, and 2, a little bit further to the south near Whyalla. This is ridiculous, it's a joke. We'll come back also to that later in terms of mixing or flushing. They only look at one location, and the location is called Upper Spencer Gulf. There are no alternatives. If you see something here, some text, this is taken from our submission. Yeah, there are some headings at the top. Yeah. Okay, and this is the good example of the capitalist who says, well, it's the cheapest option. And that is the link back to the question, what is the value if you lose it? And also important is not only the desalination plant, it's the entire package of future industrial development in that region. There's a landing facility, a deep water port. There will be another desalination plant. They're already thinking of a second one in Gulf St. Vincent, although they haven't even tested whether the first one works.